Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Please excuse the derelict mess that is our shop, but as you can see scattered around, not there, that's an unrelated project, but as you can see scattered around, I have been working on this mower. It's a Grazer. You don't really hear a lot about Grazers, probably because the parent company that manufactured them went out of business a long time ago, but regardless of that, you don't hear a lot about Grazers, and in fitting with the theme on this farm of we have all the off-brand, off-model, obscure, what does everybody else not have, that's what we have type equipment, the Grazer fits right in its various states of disrepair. So this is the first video in a series of videos about this mower. I'm going to be putting it back together and getting it running for the first time in 10, 12, maybe 13 years, something like that. The electric clutch, which you can see I got the new one and the old one here, but this electric clutch shot craps back in the day. That's what parked this mower in the grass. And we still had lawn tractors on standby, and we were able to find lawn tractors cheap. So it wasn't really worth taking the time to throw money at this thing. But now that our current lawn tractor is done, it's had it, it's time to get this mower out and rebuild it. Here we have the body. So a little bit of information about this mower. It is a Grazer G2297K. I have another one around. It's a G2090V, a little bit different, but this is the newer model, and this is the higher horsepower one. This is a 22 horse, front cut, 52-inch cut mower. Zero turn, by the way. The deck is sitting over here. It was pretty well rusted after sitting so long. As you can see, Dad did some pretty good welding on it. Should hold for quite a while. But yeah, this mower should be able to cut a lot better than the little lawn tractor that we were using. I have no idea how many of these were made or, you know, any of that. I don't even know what year it is, really. There's not a lot of information about these. The parent company that used to make these was Ingersoll Equipment, or Ingersoll Eastman, as it was known later on. No relation to Ingersoll Rand. Different Ingersoll, same spelling, but yeah, different guy, different business. And to my understanding, they've been out of business since around 2008 or so, I think. I think the market crash then is what finally done them in. They were selling equipment. I just don't know that they were selling enough equipment really to stay in business. And there's some stuff, I'm sure, that happened, but there's not a lot of details on the internet about it. I've gleaned pretty much all there is to find on Ingersoll Eastman, Ingersoll Equipment. And what little there is up in my noggin. It's not worth reciting right now. I want to keep this video short because it's just an introduction. And we'll get into details about all these components in future videos. So, in continuing at the theme of the introduction and the project overview, if you have one of these Grazers and you're looking for parts, then there's one place I found that sells OEM Grazer official Ingersoll parts, and that website is called caseingersollparts.com. I will link it down below. And I believe, this is just my understanding, they're just selling off what is left of official OE parts for these mowers, okay? And this is for Grazer, this is for the Ingersoll branded zero turn and lawn tractors, and it's also for the Case and Colt lawn tractors, I believe, because that was just part of the company history. They managed to get a hold of that line of lawn and garden equipment around the time J.I. Case bought out International Harvester. But anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. caseingersollparts.com, is the last place that I found you can go to get official parts, you know, official OEM parts for Grazer and other stuff. Now, nothing against them, okay? I'm not saying this to cuss on them, but their prices are kind of high for what they're asking for, okay? In my case, I had to replace, you see all these shiny pulleys around? I had to replace most of the pulleys on this mower because it had rusted so bad. And so if I were to go to Case Ingersoll and buy all that, it'd be a lot of money. It's, in my opinion, better off to go elsewhere and get newer replacements that are intended for other brands, but they've got the dimensions that are the same or similar enough. They'll work on this mower. And in my opinion, it's better to do that. That way you have a part number you can actually cross-reference and continue to get. And as we get into the reassembly of this mower, I will be going into more detail about where I got the parts, the part numbers, stuff like that. I don't want to mess with all that right now. But one of the big resources that I used to get a lot of these idler pulleys was Jack's Small Engines. And that's just jacksmallengines.com. That will also be linked down below. That's a pretty cool website. I like it. They've got a lot of stuff, not just for lawnmowers, but also outdoor power equipment and things like that. You know, they had all the oil filters and stuff. I didn't order the air filter because I forgot, but they had the fuel filter and the oil filter, the official Kohler branded filters for this engine and everything. So, you know, pretty good website, easy to navigate. Prices are fair, in my opinion. That's one of the places that I recommend going. And then another place, which is where I got these pulleys for the spindles. These came from McMaster Car. And in general, McMaster Car is one of those industrial supply places. They sell all kinds of stuff. You know, they sell cable and tubing and, you know, bearings and sprockets and pulleys and all sorts of things. McMaster Car, definitely check them out. Very cool place to go. And their prices are a little high. But if you need stuff, because these are cast iron pulleys, but if you need stuff like that, McMaster has them. And again, all those sites will be linked down below. I've purchased from McMaster more than once, and I've never been disappointed with what I bought. So those are some places you can go to find your parts if you just need some general information. If you're looking for manuals, parts books, anything like that for this mower, not necessarily the engine, but the mower, you know, which includes the sub-assembly here, and then the deck, and then the body over there. If you need manuals, CaseIngersollParts.com, there's a, I don't remember where it's at, but it says parts lookup, click here. You click on that, it takes you to where you can go. You can scroll through that list, and you can find the appropriate parts diagram for your mower. Another place you can go, and it doesn't apply to these newer ones. I think they actually stop at the sad 2090V out there. But I'm trying to think. IngersollEastman.com, IEC.com. I'll link it down below. It's an old website. It's very early 2000s. You can tell they haven't updated it in a while. And they also have, if you can navigate the site, they also have parts books and stuff for this. But you could tell that website's old, and it acts like the company's still in business, but everywhere I found says they're not in business. And so all you're left with is stuff like this that you have to fix yourself. You can't get replacement parts anymore. They're not selling new decks or bodies or anything like that. But yeah, those websites are places you can go just to find your spare parts and your parts diagrams and your manuals and stuff like that. All of it will be linked down below for your convenience. Next thing that I want to mention, part of this introduction, general disassembly. If you're just interested in generic information, general disassembly on these mowers is not difficult. They essentially come apart in four major pieces. The first piece is, of course, the deck, then the body, and then, of course, the subassembly and the engine. And that is the order I advise you to take stuff apart in. If you decide to take this apart, they're not hard to understand, these mowers. They come apart real easy. Pretty much everything except the engine is good old standard American fasteners, so you can get your regular old SAE wrenches out and, you know, use those for once, because anymore it seems like everything's metric. In fact, the only thing metric on these mowers is the engine. But they come apart pretty easy. There's only, you know, only 4 bolts that hold the body to the subassembly. The biggest thing is that I will advise you to do is take the deck off first, then remove the rear weights off of the body, and the weights are sitting outside. They're probably 30 to 50 pound weights. I'm not the best at judging weight, but they're pretty heavy and there's a couple of them. Take those off first, because otherwise when you go to take the body off, those weights are going to make it very difficult for you to maneuver this thing around once you get it off of the subassembly, the chassis, whatever you want to call it. So that's something I heavily advise that you do. As for any other relevant information, that should about do it. More detail, like I said, will be in future videos. There will be a playlist on my channel. I will link that down below once I get it created, and that will have all the videos in this Grazer mower series, such as they are. They're not going to be fantastic, but I just wanted to give the internet a general overview of these, what little information's out there about them. We're going to get this thing put back together one step at a time. I'm waiting on some extra parts, but nothing so important that it, is stopping me from moving forward on some parts of this, because the grass is getting a little out of control outside. I need to get this thing put back together. So that should do it for the introduction. I hope that you'll tune in to the further episodes of this and kind of follow along as I get it put together and running again. I'm not anticipating any major problems, because when this thing was parked, everything on it was running fine. Most of these things have been shielded from the sun, so like the wires and hoses on this engine are all okay. The hoses on all this are okay, and everything's good there. The deck was pretty rusted out, but it's been rebuilt, should be all right. I've got new fasteners and everything. Should go back together and run just fine. These lawnmowers, as a general rule, any lawnmower is pretty well indestructible as long as you take care of it, especially something as solidly built as this. I mean, they didn't cut corners on steel for this damn Grazer. It is, it's nice and heavy, nice and stout, pretty easy to work on. So, yeah, should be a good time for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here and get to work on some stuff. I hope you guys will tune in for stuff in the future. I hope you find the resources linked down below helpful. If you did, let me know, and we'll just catch you in the next one.